Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to The Slice. It's been a minute. We've had the post-US Open kind of withdrawal, break, rest, a Sabbath, if you will. And now we're back in the studio, back to report on the happenings. Obviously, in New Wells is upcoming. The draw has been released. We're going to break that down. Unfortunately, I am not in the desert this year, as New Wells has yet again denied The Slice's media credential. But not to be discouraged, we will be reporting, and we will be hoping to be there next year doing the San Diego Indian Wells double header. Well, I guess, we'll see about the scheduling and stuff. But we're going to talk about San Diego. That was epic. We're going to talk about the Laver Cup. Laver Cup. Does the format need to change? Andrei Rublev had a funny answer to my question on that. Emma Raducanu is back in action. And can Daniil Medvedev end the year as the world number one, overtaking Novak Djokovic? Can it happen? Because Djokovic is not here. So lots to get into. As always, welcome to The Slice.
I go Federer. You know what I mean? I can still
Coming at you from the Delray Beach Open, Miami Open, down the grounds of Indian Wells.
Hey, Novak, I don't make the Andre.
We are here with the man, Milos Raonic. Welcome to The Slice. Well, folks, how are you? Thanks for being back here. If you're new to the show, my name's Steven, and this is The Slice, where you can get all the news that you need to be the best tennis fan you can be. This morning, I actually had a chat with one of the legendary journalist, Christopher Clarey, who has just finished his biography of the great man, Roger Federer. Over 20 years, over 20 sit-down one-on-one interviews with Federer. That's kind of what he's got in the look into it. So it's a great conversation. You're going to have to wait to listen to that. The front row people, if you're on our Patreon, which is the link below, I asked them some of your personalized questions after the show and kind of a little fireside chat. So if you haven't joined the Front Row Show, do that. The link is below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for checking it out. Now, first things first, before we get into New Wells draw, should the Laver Cup change its format? As you saw, Team Europe beat down Team World. Unfortunately, I'm part of Team World, Canadian here. And they laid the absolute smackdown. I think Team World only got 1 point. Now, should the format be changed to help Team World? Rael Pelka, I saw him talking today. He said, I don't think we're going to get him anytime soon. The Russians are just too good. So that got me thinking, is Russia European? It's kind of up for debate, I feel like. It's like if you live on the far east coast of Russia, that's like Asia. So I asked Andrei Rublev this actually in San Diego in the press, and he had a very funny answer. You can see it here. He said, it depends where you live. He's like, it's a good point. If you're in, Eastern Russia, like I said, you're probably more in Asia. But then, where I'm from, in Moscow, that's European. And he's like, so I don't know. You're going to have to ask other guys. And I was like, I could ask Medvedev. He's like, oh, yeah, you could. But he's also born in Moscow. And I was like, what about Karatsev? And then he just goes, nobody knows where he's born. And everyone laughed. And I was like, maybe just in the mountains. And then we all agreed on that and laughed a little bit more. Just great times in the San Diego press room. But what do you think? Should the Laver Cup format be changed, or just keep it there and then make it even that much more epic when Team World eventually does win? I don't know. San Diego was awesome, with the most stacked lineup we've probably ever seen in an ATP 250 or in recent memory at least. Great tournament. Love that it's on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast of Canada. I need closer tournaments so I can go down to them once this freaking pandemic ends. So that was awesome. I've heard good things. Christopher Clarey actually talked to me from San Diego, where he was there covering it. So that's epic. Taking a quick look at the women's draw, obviously tons of talent in there. Raducanu versus Fernandez, the two ladies who took over the tennis world at the end of the U.S. Open. Possible semifinal matchup on the bottom half of the draw there. So Emma Raducanu is quite possibly, quite guaranteedly in these last few weeks, the biggest star in tennis. Definitely the biggest star in Britain. If you haven't checked my appearance on Sky Sports to talk about that, I'll try and put a link right here. But yeah, that's amazing. There's we got Andreescu back in the draw. She's actually defending her title from 2019 after she won it. Yes, we're still relapsing from the COVID situation. So anyways, there's just so much talent there, but the talent that is not there is Federer, Nadal, Djokovic on the men's side. First time in like forever. I'm going to say, just pull it off the top of my head, 2001 or 2000 when not one of them was in the draw. So that leaves a lot of room, as we all know, for the next gen, who have now officially, I think, arrived with Medvedev beating Djokovic in straight sets in the U.S. Open final, finally showing that it can be done They are beatable in the finals of slams. Let's look at the Indian Wells potential quarterfinals. We got Medvedev versus Hurkacz, Rublev versus Ruud. That's a rematch they just played in San Diego. Ruud took him out, and Ruud won the tournament, so that was awesome for him. Ruud's playing super good and showing that he can get it done on hard court. Medvedev versus Hurkacz, we saw that matchup in Toronto with Medvedev coming through, but those guys are both... Hurkacz isn't he actually did just win in Mets, so he's looking good. Medvedev just won in the U.S. Open, so he's also looking good. Those two guys, that was a super good battle. If they're both playing well, love that one from the baseline. Also, two great guys. Berrettini, number 5, versus potential Zverev. Zverev, who the ATP did announce that they are doing a formal investigation into the abuse allegations from his ex-girlfriend. Now, what that means, a formal investigation, I guess they're just going to look into it on their own. Like, I don't really understand what that looks like as far as a formal thing from the ATP. Is it law enforcement doing it? I don't think so, because she hasn't pressed charges. So it's very confusing. Again, if Zverev did this, he's a total scumbag. If he didn't, it should be forgotten. And I don't know how to solve it, so I'm going to let the ATP figure that out. FAA versus Tsitsipas. We always love seeing those two guys play because they're great guys, and they got big games. And, it's just a saucy draw. It's not as deep as it has been in other years. Obviously, without Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, it's not quite as exciting, but there's still some pretty good matches in the first round. Not so many in the first round, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of good ones in the second round. First round, though, we got Vasek Pospisil, Canadian, versus J.J. Wolf, who's coming back. Great to see him back in action, I think, after some abdominal things going on. Wild card, he got a wild card in there. And then we have another super interesting matchup, Benoit Paire versus Francis Tiafoe. What could go wrong there? Hey, I don't know. A lot of things, though. Jack Sock got a wild card, playing Australian John Millman. Jack Sock, if you follow him on Instagram, they're staying at the craziest mansion I've ever seen out in Palm Springs, where I wish I was staying. Could have been fun, but no press pass. I wasn't going to travel down there this time as a fan. But for the real ones who are still watching, if you remember from when I went in 2018 as a fan and I snuck into the press room kind of unknowingly and saw Fed do a presser live, yeah, that's how the Slice started. That's the journalism that the Slice is built on, and we're keeping it going. Maybe that's why they haven't given us a pass. I don't know. But, yeah. Anyways, potential second-round matchup, Brooksby versus Zverev. Could be awesome. I love Jensen Brooksby's game, and that would be an epic matchup. Brooksby's going to have to beat a qualifier. He'll have to beat a qualifier to get to Zverev. And then we got a friend of the show, Holger Rune, who is manager/mom, has agreed to do it. He's going to do an interview with us at some time, probably when he's got some time. He's playing every single week right now. And he got a main draw wild card into the main draw of Indian Wells. So he's got a qualifier, and he's in kind of a soft part of the draw. He played Garin and then maybe De Minaur. Both of those are winnable matches for him. And the kid's in good form. He's been playing well, and we're stoked on him. Anyways, there's a quick look at the draw. We're really going to have more to report on when things get rolling, but let me know what you think about the Laver Cup format. Let me know what you think about the colors of this quarterfinal draw. Very retro, very fresh, I think. Very Indian Wells. We're going to be watching from up here in Canada, seeing what we can do. The last question is, can Daniil Medvedev make the year-end number 1? He right now is behind Djokovic. For the singles race, he is basically 2,000 points behind Djokovic. So if he were able to win this tournament, he would only be 1,000 with Paris Indoors, where he's super good at, and the ATP final. So it's super doable for Daniil Medvedev. He's going to have to fight off Djokovic in probably those two tournaments, because Djokovic is probably going to play the Masters 1000 and obviously the ATP finals. So it's between those two guys for who's going to be the year at number 1. It would be pretty crazy if Medvedev took out Djokovic after Djokovic won 3 slams. But like we kind of saw with Federer back in 2017, he basically won every tournament he played, except he just didn't play a lot of tournaments. So that is the problem ranking-wise, but I don't think it's a motivation for Djokovic to be ranking anymore. He's done it all. He has the all-time most amount of weeks at number 1. And he's tied for the most majors. So I think it's all major time going forward from here. Last thought, came up to me. There is some reports going out that the Australian Open might only allow players who are vaccinated to play. Australia is in a whirlwind. They're lagging behind the rest of the world, it seems right now with their COVID policies, in my opinion. Super late to the game as far as vaccinations, etc. So that would be super interesting because I don't think Djokovic is vaccinated and a lot of other players aren't either. Not that I have an opinion on that one way or the other. I think people should make up their own choice, but it's going to affect your playing ability, it looks like. So that's going to be an interesting story that we're going to have to watch. But anyways, that's all from us here on The Slice for now. Make sure you hit the like button, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and go find me on Twitter, where I'm going to be posting insights from the press room, like I do all the time. That Andrei Rublev quote was a banger about Aslan the Lion Karatsev being born in the hills, nobody knows where, because he's the man of mystery. We'll see you soon.